Send it out there to the wolves.
Yourselves, people.
The movie that was my most disappointing movie of the year is a movie that I absolutely loved, but I wasn't necessarily happy with the ending, and that's Avengers: Infinity War.
That's some.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain.
Well, because like
That's a hot take.
Inconceivable! Inconceivable!
Hello and welcome to Inconceivable Season 3. I'm William. You
I'm Wesley.
I'm Gordon.
And I'm Alex.
We'll fix that.
I used to. I normally go third, so I was like,
I usually go next, but I'm not going to do it over here.
I normally go third, and I was like, I'm sitting in the second seat, so.
Yeah.
For the people who are listening in, we got extra seats and we moved around a little bit, so that's
right.
why
we have a fourth seat for this season, so we can have up to 4 people now.
4-player action.
We've upgraded from like Toads to like Ninja
Toads?
Turtles. No, Battletoads.
Battletoads and Ninja Turtles.
It's a 3-player game.
That's fair. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the reference.
I mean, I guess.
If you say
That's a fair comparison because Battletoads are still cool, but they're not as cool as Ninja Turtles.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
I didn't know Battletoads was a thing.
Well,
Really?
they're getting a movie or something.
That's true.
Probably.
Toads?
Are they really? They're either getting a movie or they're rebooting the game franchise.
No, they're getting
Something's
a movie.
happening. Okay.
They're making movies for everything
No, wait,
nowadays.
no, it's not a movie. It is a game. That's right.
Is it a game? Okay. Yes.
It would be super weird to have like a franchise that hasn't been around for a while.
Just to be a
And they're
movie
just
all of a sudden.
We're gonna do a movie.
Well, like, it could be a good rebranding opportunity.
It's kind of like Battleship, sort of. They're just like, Battleship is a game.
Did you know they're making a Monopoly movie?
Really?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's the same thought.
Battleship
like,
isn't interesting at all. That's what I was saying. I was like,
Okay,
it's stupid.
yeah. But like, yeah, they're making a Monopoly movie, and I guess what's his face is gonna Kevin Hart is gonna be like in it.
I'm
I
sorry,
guess.
what?
I will.
I know.
I will watch that. Actually,
Maybe it's not Kevin Hart. It's somebody like that, or maybe it is Kevin Hart. I don't know. But
I would believe it.
Eventually.
yeah.
speaking of movies,
Speaking
Yeah.
of movies, we are talking about our favorite movies of 2018.
yes.
Our favorite movies, our most disappointing movies, and our most surprising movies / least favorite. We've been discussing about how to call it, but
It
I
was
have a
really
list of it in chronological order. Actually, the
It
way
was
they
really
wrote
hard
it.
for me.
So yeah.
But yeah, before we move on to our segment, I'd like to go over a couple announcements for the show. Season 3, we are having 2 types of shows for Inconceivable. First off, we're having what we're having right here, which is going to be a single topic, R.I.P. Gary, show where we are going to be more educated, talking about a singular focus thing headed by one person. This one's a bit more collaborative, but it'll be more in its normal format in episode 2.
I call it Battle Royale mode.
Jeez.
Anything goes.
It's 2019, we gotta follow the trends.
Everything has Battle Royale. Now so does Inconceivable.
Only one leaves this podcast.
Yeah.
Only one gets the chicken dinner.
Who wins?
Gary
You
was the
decide.
first. Gary was the first one to lose.
No. But yeah, so and then we're also going to have our in between the other every other week episodes of these. We're going to have spoiler cast reviews where we talk about movies, our first reactions in full with spoilers. Hopefully within the week of a movie release, so you can know right away what we think about a certain movie.
What William really means is he wants us to hold in all of our emotions about
true.
movies for about an hour.
I
after.
really want our first reactions. It should be interesting. We'll see how long it lasts, but that's the goal.
I feel like I'm gonna blow an artery or something when I'm doing that.
I feel oppressed.
Suppressed.
Suppressed. You're suppressing me. Suppressive.
So let's jump right into it.
Anyway,
We're going to start with the most disappointing movie, which I would like to say right off the bat, all of us didn't really have a movie that we hated this year.
Yeah.
All of us, we were pretty satisfied. And all the movies that we're going to be talking about here, we're only talking about the movies that we've seen. This isn't some definitive list of all the things that came out last year. It is just what we've seen and our personal opinions. So,
In my opinion,
like,
it's probably
that's
change
up
in
to
a
you.
couple months.
It's true.
yeah, we don't intentionally go see movies that we're just like, yeah, that's gonna be absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna spend money on stuff like that. I want to go see movies that I like.
We might have motivation to do that now, though.
It's true.
Just go see
Don't go.
terrible
I don't
movies,
think
yeah.
we should go see movies that are in theaters. I think we can watch them like at home or something like that.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's cheaper.
So for me, my most disappointing movie, and this isn't one that I disliked, but I think that had the most potential that it didn't use the most of it. And for me, that was Ready Player One. I actually liked it more than most people did because I didn't read the books, so I didn't have that hindrance. But I do really love the concept, and I thought it was a decent movie. However, and I will say that the theater experience was pretty great. Kind of like how Avatar, that classic, it was better in the movies, and then you watch on DVD, it's like, oh, this isn't nearly as interesting. Ready Player One, also also has that same problem. Way more entertaining to see in theaters.
It's a good experience.
Yeah.
And when you're out and you have all the accoutrements.
Exactly. So I laughed with happy feelings, but then looking back at the movie, honestly, it's not something that I go out of my way to watch again. Okay. And the concept, while really awesome, is also its downfall. The fact that it has such an awesome concept, and
it's just so much going on.
Yeah,
I did
really
end up watching it over
condensed.
Christmas. So.
Yeah, I feel like it would have done much better if it was an actual TV show, because then they would have been able to explore it a lot more.
Honestly, a lot of things that have TV shows, now that TV shows are being taken with a higher production value and more seriously, it almost seemingly is the preferred route for more expanded stories now.
Right, and novel adaptations and series and such. Yeah.
As in a series of unfortunate events.
For sure.
Bingo.
Yeah.
3 seasons and it was good.
Yeah.
Yep, done.
For sure. So yeah, I really liked Ready Player One, but yeah, I could have done so much better. I felt like the villain especially lacked the most. Like that's the thing. I love the main characters. Oh, and my main gripe, I gotta say, I know I brought it up sometime in the podcast when we originally talked about, but I gotta say, one of my most disappointing things about the story was the fact that when they built up this girl as someone who was maybe ugly or something like that in real life, you wouldn't like
a horrible
me.
disfigurement.
Yeah, exactly. Or
little face or something.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, have you guys seen She's Out of My League?
No.
Okay, so there's this movie, Jay Baruchel and Alice Eve, who's in Star Trek, and she's absolutely gorgeous, but she's kind of at one point in the movie they're like, yeah, she has this thing where she has a deformity and she's super uncomfortable about it, so don't call her perfect because she really has a problem with that, and it ends up that she has webbed feet. And just tiny little webbing in between her toes, and so that's the whole thing.
That's it.
And it's
Wear
really?
socks.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. In the book, Ready Player One, I haven't actually seen the movie, but in the book, she's supposed to have this massive I think it's
It's a dark birthmark. Yeah.
Yeah, a
really
blood
red one.
red wine kind of whatever the.
And then
what's
the
that
one in
called again?
here, it was
It's slightly pink, like she had a bad makeup day or something.
Yeah.
or
Picked the
it
wrong
was like a
foundation.
spotty sunburn kind of
It
deal.
was
Yeah.
you looked the same, or not
It's
the same, but
It's there's nothing wrong with
Right,
no.
and she
Yeah.
was still above average, attractive wise too. I was expecting, are we actually going to see a main couple in a movie with two average people, two average looking people? How crazy would that be?
That's the real social injustice.
And I think
of
I got
our-
really excited for that as soon as they said, "Oh, you wouldn't oh, this could be a really cool storyline that we never see, we literally never see in Hollywood."
Ugly people in a movie.
And they didn't, and they told me the reveal for me that was so depressing. I was like,
Wait, the people
really?
who play a lot of video games are actually average looking? What?
I mean, it's so insensitive, but the sentiment is real.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was extremely disappointing to me specifically, and I have other gripes, but for me that was something that I was in the movie I was getting excited for, thinking that's a good storyline. I would love to see this, and they just totally didn't deliver on it. It was all talk, and I was like, wow, that kind of sucks.
Imagine how disappointed you would have been if you actually read the book.
So, yeah. See, that's the
That would have
thing.
been a lot
Yeah.
worse.
So yeah, what about you, Wesley?
Oh, we're gonna go one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We could
just
actually do
pop back and forth because you and I have the same one. I
we
think.
could do ours and we can talk about it together because I think
Yeah.
ours is the same.
Go
and then
for
we
it.
can finish
Yeah.
off with yours.
Yeah, because there's anticipation.
Would you like to go first?
I can, I guess. So my most disappointing movie of the year, I knew it wasn't going to be great, but I thought I still had some hope for it. Was Solo: A Star Wars Story, because when I first watched it, I was like, it's okay. I mean, I had some fun moments, but like the more I thought about it, and then like the second time I watched it, which was with you actually, I was watching it and I was just waiting for the bad moments because I was watching it with someone who hadn't seen it before, and I'm just like, just wait, this is gonna happen. And then we watch it, we're just and Gordon's just like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I feel like when I had expectations for Star Wars: A Solo Story because I felt like it could be something.
Solo: A Star Wars Story.
Solo Star Wars.
Star Wars: A Solo Story.
I mean, it ends
Great.
up being a one-off.
Sort of, yeah. Anyway, for Solo, I had some expectations for it. I was hoping that it would kind of kind of like bring Star Wars fans back together a little bit. Just be like a fun Star Wars movie that people can enjoy and not have to be so divided about, because that's what happened with the previous movie was The Last Jedi. I was like, maybe this will kind of bring it up a little bit. And then I watched it and I was like, it's very subpar, honestly. I didn't think that it was anything amazing. I thought that I think another problem that they had was that they condensed so many storylines that we've heard about into one movie. It just felt like it was cramped and it didn't have enough substance.
They just picked all the moments that are referenced and just like, this is Han Solo's long weekend.
Yeah.
This is how we met everyone.
Can you imagine? That sounds like a Spider-Man movie title. Spider-Man's Long Weekend.
Well, have you heard
nowadays, yeah.
Have you heard the thing about the naming convention for Spider-Man? Next one's going to be like Spider-Man Home Alone.
I will watch that. Yeah. Well, one of the things that Gordon mentioned, if you remember, is like in the movie, it makes a pretty big deal of Han Solo's lucky dice, and we see them a little bit in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But then Gordon pointed out, like, did we know that he had lucky dice in the original trilogy? Because we never saw them.
Yeah, that was totally a book
So they
thing.
just give it.
Supposedly, the dice are in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon in the original trilogy.
They're talked about, but
No, talked about, I don't think so. I think they might be in one of the ultimate, or like one of the visual dictionaries, like
Yeah.
possibly.
Possibly.
It's been a while since I've read through those, but it's kind of off-putting at this point that they're like, oh my god.
Well, like, I knew they existed too. Where did I hear about them?
I think I read about it somewhere. Maybe Harrison Ford talked about the lucky
so
dice.
weird.
But something that's interesting was I think I was looking at the visual dictionary of The Last Jedi. And it was talking about those are the lucky dice that Han used against Lando to win the Millennium Falcon. And then I watched the Solo story and I'm like, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
Nope.
They are.
Like
He has them the
even when
entire
you're going
time.
with a narrative thread, they're not consistent. That's kind of disappointing.
It's like,
Yeah.
just look it up on Wikipedia for the people who are making these movies. Like, it's not that hard. Everyone,
Yeah.
there's so much information.
Just put to screen all the information that's already out there. Please don't mess this up.
Yeah.
I get that.
And I thought it was kind of interesting for me because I went into it with low expectations. I didn't end up seeing it in theaters. I ended up watching it at home with Alex. And I still was kind of like, even with lowered expectations, I was kind of like, yeah, that's not as good as I expected.
One thing that Solo did for me, which is unfortunate now knowing what's like happening with Disney's relationship with Star Wars, I liked the premise that it set up as a real story outside. I mean, yeah, we had Rogue One, but you still had lots of Jedis and stuff like that. And this one, you set up a real story that has nothing to do with any like Jedis or Sith or anything like that, and sets up this underground world. And I like that, and especially towards the end where it sets up basically this universe within this universe that we're familiar with. You know, a whole different like avenue of stories that to me was interesting, and I had questions about that I wanted answers, and an interesting hook that made me want to see more of this like separate like universe that they've created. But that's kind of neither here nor there within the movie itself, because that's going forward the future, which I don't know if you'll ever see now, because that was expected to be continued with the Boba Fett movie, or...
I think they were going to make the Solo movie a trilogy, or have extra Solo movies.
Well, I thought it was going to be something like they continue the storyline through other, not solo movies, but like stand like single character movies.
I think it might have been Boba Fett.
I think the biggest loss of the Solo movie still is that I think they overreacted on the reception of it, and they were just like, okay, we're done, no more of these movies. Like, really?
Sure. Like you get one negative thing.
Yeah, your first Star Wars movie to not even get negative reviews, just to get like, yeah, that was all right.
They didn't get a lot of money.
Oh yeah, because as far as like critics' reviews, way more decisively better than Last Jedi. Last Jedi had a very high contrast of both good and bad reviews, and there was very people middle of the road. This one at least had people middle of the road, and then on the better end.
Yeah, because like in the majority, people like enjoyed it. I even enjoyed it.
Right.
But like Alex has been talking about his disdain for the Solo movie for quite a while now. So I don't know if this is just like Stockholm syndrome taking its.
I'm sorry.
But like now I'm starting to see that like maybe maybe I only liked it because of the Darth Maul reference.
I really liked a lot of what it was setting up. I thought it was good. I liked the crew that they had at the beginning with the like the monkey guy and the girl and Beckett.
I was gonna say it's a shame they killed him all.
Yeah, I'm just like they killed him off. Like the ape or monkey guy, whatever it was voiced by Jon Favreau. I was like, I'm enjoying this a lot. He's amazing. And then they just kill him off, and then we get like Lando's great, obviously.
I was gonna say I still love all the acting.
I
in the movie.
like Lando.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the girl, and I definitely didn't like the droid. I really hated the droid. Like she's just, yeah. I was disappointed.
I still loved all the acting in the movie though.
Sure.
Like I still thought he was a good choice for Han.
Yeah, no,
he did a surprisingly
he really
good job.
sells it. I think if they did it differently, I think he would still be an excellent choice for that.
Sure. I think for me personally, this had a lot more going towards it than against it, which is why I didn't put it down as most disappointing. As I tried to bar my excitement for this movie, especially after the aftermath of Last Jedi, which I'll go on record as saying I'm on the side that I enjoyed that movie and I think it's good.
Took me a while.
But that all being said,
It hurt me.
I wanted to make sure that I went in this with like a clean slate, not using Last Jedi as a benchmark. And man, I wish more people would do that, because that's the majority of the bad reviews for this is people just thinking that Disney is now just failing Star Wars as a whole, and that's that.
No.
But the thing is that I don't think Disney even had faith in Solo to begin with. Like they started marketing it really late in the game.
Yeah,
and
this Solo was set up, especially only 5 months after Last Jedi. People did not have enough time to cool down from that movie to enjoy this movie as itself, and not as something right after Last Jedi.
Yeah,
you know,
like even you were telling me that you had expectations for it to be like something that would bring people back together.
That's true.
Like I think
definitely not that type of movie.
Yeah, no, and I didn't really have any expectations going into Solo, so I think that's another thing that contributed to me like enjoying it. But now that you guys point out more of the inconsistencies in it, I'm just like, that's not cool. I feel disrespected as a fan.
I feel I really don't. I don't want to be just like super negative about things. I don't want to be that guy, but it's really hard sometimes.
I'm turning more and more into that guy. So
Alex,
I think that's something that you and I can work on.
you've gone down a path I can't follow.
What do you got, Wesley?
What do I got? Okay, so here we go. You're not ready for this.
What?
So my runner-up for most disappointing movie of the year was Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
Not because I didn't enjoy it, because I did enjoy it, but because I didn't continue to talk about it after it was over. Like it was just kind of like it was another movie in the ever-expanding Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And I think it's hard when you're a Marvel movie.
Exactly, you have to be special, like in the Marvel
Especially when you
universe.
come out in the same year as Avengers and Black Panther.
And Black Panther, yeah. Like it was fun. I enjoyed watching it. Do I ever care if I watch it again? No.
And I think that's the important distinction right there. Is that, will I go watch it again?
Yeah, and so that's not even my most disappointing one though. So let me preface this before I send it out there to the
Brace
wolves.
yourselves, people.
The movie that was my most disappointing movie of the year is a movie that I absolutely loved, but I wasn't necessarily happy with the ending, and that's Avengers: Infinity War.
That's
That's a bold claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain.
Well, because like
That's a hot take.
okay, because
How are you gonna back this up?
I went and saw Infinity War in theaters twice. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Okay, starting over. Here we go. So I went and saw the movie, and like by the end of it, like the characters they chose to kill off and the ones they chose to keep alive, it like totally took me out of the movie, and I was like, I can't, like I literally like audibly in the theater was like, I don't buy it. Like I just no.
Well,
like
when they have sorry, go ahead.
it just, but like it killed, like I stopped caring in that moment because like I was like, this isn't real.
It took you out of the experience.
Exactly, it took me out of the experience because I was like, no, things aren't going to stay that way. They can't. You can't kill off Spider-Man. You can't kill off Black Panther. You just can't do that.
Because you basically end up with the original cast of the Avengers.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of like it seems kind of contrived in that regard.
Yeah, and like the movie caused me to stop believing that the movie was the movie. You know what I mean? Like it just so like I still love Infinity War. It's a great movie, but like, I think it was a bad choice at the end with who they decided to kill off. They decided to kill off quotation marks.
Yeah, well, if you take away the title characters for movies that just came out that are already planning sequels,
it's just too obvious. Like I think they like showed their hand too much. You know what I mean?
If they didn't take out Black Panther, Spider-Man, and maybe a couple of the Guardians, then it would have been more believable. I think.
Honestly, if they had just kept Black Panther and Spider-Man alive, I probably could have believed it and would have been more. I would have been actually sad at the end, like a lot of other people were.
Yeah.
But I wasn't at all. I was like, no, none of them are dead. I don't believe you. Like,
but to be fair, what would they have done differently? Because the thing
just not kill those two guys.
Well,
yeah, pretty much.
Well, the thing
exactly.
Is,
maybe take some of the original
but even
cast
then,
back.
I think you could still be taken out of the moment, even if you didn't. If you just avoided.
I'm just saying,
guys.
for me, that would have done it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think someone was saying that they were underwhelmed by Spider-Man's scene with Tony Stark. And like I can understand that because obviously he has another movie coming out. He only had one movie.
We literally got
maybe
a trailer
1.5
for it.
movies before that, and obviously they're going to want to, bank on him being a star. The way that I choose to look at it, because like I felt like I feel their argument, I understand it, is it's less about what, like, the emotion of the scene doesn't come from us losing this character as it might with like a character like Gamora or Loki. Rumors abound. We don't know if they're going to end up coming back or whatnot, but their deaths feel a little more permanent. But the emotional weight of the scene is less about what's happening to him and more about what's happening to Tony Stark and how he's going to deal with it, because he suffers a lot from survivor's guilt anyway, and this is probably the worst manifestation of that.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I personally think it's unfair to criticize a movie for forces outside the movie itself.
Not when you're in control of all of them. Like,
True.
No, I get your argument.
Yeah.
I just think, me personally, I think it's unfair to criticize it for the outside forces that are going on. Because I mean, if they felt like this Spider-Man moment was really important for Tony Stark's development and whatever's happening in this next movie, how unfair would it be? Would they we can't have that simply because everybody knows we have a Spider-Man movie comes out. I wouldn't, if they told me, it's like, hey, we had this really important film, it was Tony Stark, that involves Spider-Man dying. However, people aren't gonna, 100% of the people aren't gonna be in love with it because everybody knows that there's another Spider-Man movie coming out. Should be bar that scene, change it up, or keep it as this is the way that we planned it along. And I would tell them, keep it the way that you wanted it to. I would not tell them, just because you have another Spider-Man movie coming out does not mean you change what happens in the movie.
They work in... They work closer
I understand
than that.
they understand it, but if
like,
they built obviously Spider-Man has a bigger...
I think you can keep them accountable for it because everybody's already expecting the movies to work together. You know what I mean? Instead of one movie giving away the plot of another movie.
I understand they are absolutely accountable for it, but I think what they're saying is, what they're going to be saying is that they're owning up to the fact they're accountable, yes, but I think that it's worth it. Because I think that something's going to happen in this movie that's going to justify why they went.
Yeah, but like
this route.
You're just like, I think my problem was it was like a straight up middle finger in the air to me of like the stakes. We have constantly been telling you the stakes are going to be real, and we just made them not real again. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I was like, man, finally a movie with real stakes. And then they killed off characters that obviously can't stay dead, and the stakes were gone again. Like, I was like, you lied to me. Really? Or I was really disappointed by the ending of the movie.
I mean, we were sold a bill of goods, and we did not get what we were promised.
No, I just feel like they postponed the real ending to a different movie.
That's fine. I mean, it is part one of a two-part.
Originally, it was part one. Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit like. I mean, it's not a great example because the books were out, but it's kind of like Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
So you kind of have the first part and the second part. And you
Except Dobby actually does die in the end.
That's true.
Doesn't come back.
Real stakes.
Yeah.
Here's one of my favorites. All of my favorite Harry Potter characters die.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that hurts.
That's rough. Buddy.
And your Ruby characters, too.
And all my Ruby characters die, too. Anyway, and what you said, Gordon, was true. Like the only two characters that you really don't know if they're alive or dead are like Loki and Gamora. Like, those are the only ones where you're like,
what about Vision?
I don't know. Vision, you know what? Vision too. Oh, actually, I don't think Vision will stay dead either. I think he'll come back.
Mostly because it involves the stone.
Yeah.
If And another thing, like the other thing is too, is for some reason, I feel like if he doesn't come back, I'll feel really bad because I'll feel like he didn't go out in a big enough way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, he did
like
get
it just kind
exploded.
of. I know, but like the disbelief that they created in me at the ending made it all seem very small.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what I mean. It's like
So they robbed his death of meaning, and if it doesn't have meaning in the next movie, it's gonna feel cheap.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I think the most meaningful deaths did happen in the beginning with the people on Thor.
exactly.
Thor ship.
Yeah,
Like Heimdall.
Yeah.
Like, they killed
Heimdall's gone.
Idris Elba.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he
What the heck?
did.
yeah.
I wonder if Lady Sif is still around, because she didn't die in Ragnarok.
No,
But,
her
like, she
contract
just-
is just, out the window.
Yeah.
Well, she's having that show on Disney Plus. Remember?
She has a show coming?
Yeah,
on Disney Plus.
yeah. I don't know if it's a prequel show or if it's like a
Okay.
Where Is She Now show.
Well, Valkyrie's
now?
taking her place, so.
Pretty much. She's
As the resident badass female
True.
Norse.
Goddess?
I thought she was great,
Ish.
so I'm not even complaining.
Yeah, no, Valkyrie's cool.
yeah, that's cool.
I like Korg more. That's
I
just
like
me.
quick. Hey guys. Hey man.
Yeah,
So-
paper, scissors humor for you.
Mink's dead. Oh, wait, he's alive, guys.
Oh, I gotta watch that movie again.
It's on Netflix.
I know. Yeah.
So, now we have all talked about our disappointments.
Yes.
Let's up the mood and
Let's
talk
lift
about
ourselves up a little
yeah, and talk about our most surprising movies of last year. Ones that kind of took us off guard, or ones that were way better than we expected them to be. For me, honorable mention goes to Venom. I had a level head going into that, but still I loved it way more than I thought it would. But for me, the choice for this was clear. Totally took me off guard. Almost didn't see it, and I'm so glad I did. Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Okay.
And it is super out of left field for some people who either haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph or watch the first one and think, why would I bother watching a second movie of that, you know? And honestly, I really appreciated the first movie and the nods to the video game community, which I feel like isn't very present or positively present
Sure.
in movies. And it was cool to have a proper movie based around that. And I actually loved the original Wreck-It Ralph. And I was like, you know what? I'll throw them a bone. I know it's Disney, but whatever. I'll see the sequel. And it was not what I expected to be at all. And I was a little bit wary because it had the internet theme going on, and it just like
Could go bad so quickly.
emoji movie. That's all I could think of. It was emoji movie. Like, oh no, don't do this to me. Don't give me
Not
Patrick
again. Come
Stewart
on.
as poop. He's like, no. Just like flashbacks. Just like no. But holy crap, the movie was super funny.
Wait, I'm sorry. What is that gonna look like on Patrick Stewart's like movie list? Like he
IMDb
played
page?
He played
played the poop emoji once. Like
That was a-
I'm sorry,
I
Patrick
think he has
Stewart.
a pretty good
Like, to
track
be
record
alive.
so far that he got
Yeah.
a one-time
Like,
thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So it was hilariously funny. They handled the internet story in a way that wasn't cringy, wasn't in your face sponsorship. In fact, every single, like, of course they made nods to real companies, stuff like that.
Sure.
But any real plot altering internet company / thing was made up. Like they made it up. So you didn't have the
Google wasn't like the bad guy or anything.
No. Yeah, you didn't
That'd be a
have.
little on the nose.
It didn't have the whole like YouTube like thing focused around YouTube. It was on a different video platform, you know.
I mean, they had Disneyland, sort of Disney.com or
Oh
something.
no! I'm saying they totally have real things in it, but anything that was like plot altering, like big
the
deal.
ones that revolved around, yeah.
Yeah,
I do want to point out that the princesses did save Wreck-It Ralph's life. Spoiler alert.
it's true.
I haven't seen it.
I
I don't know what they saved him from or why, so it's okay.
But
My bad.
with all that being said, that was all just like, okay, good, you met expectations. They then took that.
Thanks for being average.
Yeah, exactly.
Thumbs up for me.
It would have been an average movie from there. Like, wow, you actually had a decent sequel. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
But then they added in a storyline that was so touching and so out of left field that I had me almost crying towards the end until I told myself, "There's no way I'm going to cry at the freaking Wreck-It Ralph."
I know. You leave the theater later and be like, you have to admit to the world, like, Wreck-It Ralph 2 made me cry like a baby.
But I won't spoil it for you because I think, and anyone, because I have a feeling
He wants me to cry like a baby too. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I have a feeling that a lot of people haven't seen it, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now, you have to see this movie because the storyline, for me and many people, was extremely relatable, has really never been really touched on this way in movies, and I love storylines like that. And it really hit home for me and a lot of people, and I could not believe how much I liked that movie after I left it. I was like, wow, like, not only did they meet the bar of what they should have done, but they had a storyline to me that was way more impressive and way more personal than the first one.
Sure.
To a point where I would almost argue I like this one more than the first one, which is really hard to do.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
I did think it had a surprising amount of emotional punch in it, and really funny. I went and saw it with a friend of mine, and we were just laughing hysterically the entire time.
All the
It was
internet
great.
jokes totally on par. Exactly. Like, seriously,
Well,
if
just
this
having
came out,
ads thrown in your face all the time on like a regular internet day is like, oh, this is so
And, like
accurate.
the viruses bit.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
You know,
There wasn't-
the eBay
The dark web.
interaction.
there was very
The
few,
eBay interaction
yeah.
was phenomenal.
There was very few cheap jabs, like cheap internet jokes, which is all the Emoji Movie was. So,
Really?
yeah. And best of all, no Candy Crush scene.
Was it Candy Crush in the first one?
No, in
Oh,
Emoji.
okay.
The Emoji Movie. They had a whole. This is what I'm talking about. Not having like the big companies like around that. They had a whole like plot thing where they had to get up like through this stage by beating Candy Crush. And it's like, really?
Feels bad, man.
Yeah.
I was actually really disappointed because my sister just said like, yeah, we watched it with with our kids or with my sister's kids, and she was like, it's actually a really funny movie. You should watch it. I was like, I'm so disappointed in you. I'm disowning you. How dare you?
Literally everyone that I respect for movie reviews or anything has like not jumping on the bandwagon hated it. Just like really hates it. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. So me, runner up is Aquaman. Not again.
Surprise!
I appreciate. Oops, I'm calling somebody.
Don't
I was
you-
calling our
do
group.
that.
Anyway, so I appreciate your questions here. William made wonderful pre-made questions for us, but they restrict me. But anyway, Aquaman runner-up for surprising because like I was hoping it would be good and I was like confident that it would be good, but then we went in and it was just a total blast. So,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
yeah. So it was just like
it was better than expected for me too.
yeah. So runner up, but definitely my most surprising movie of the year was Venom. Because that was actually like I was really hopeful for Venom too, and I was like pretty confident that it would do well. Like I love Tom Hardy. Oh, it's another one of actors I love. Tom Hardy.
Okay.
Tom Hardy's awesome. But yeah, I was super excited for Venom. But then like as it got closer to coming out, people were like, I guess like reviews or like pre-screenings didn't go well or whatever, and it ended up being like a pretty mediocre movie as far as like critically.
Yeah.
But then we went in and watched it, and it was so fun, and it was funny, and Tom Hardy was great, and like it was just great seeing like the real Venom, not like your crappy Spider-Man 3 Venom. So it was surprising for me because it was like so enjoyable,
Right.
and surprising for me because it's like one of the top grossing movies of last year.
Yeah.
Is it
Like
really?
it is.
Yeah.
It did so well commercially, like in theaters and
Bizarre.
stuff. Yeah.
And like nobody talks about it.
I know, but
Well,
it
that's
did
'cause
great.
It beat Wonder
Critically,
Woman, right?
Didn't do well.
Yeah.
Audience-wise,
Well,
did
Aquaman
well,
did too,
and I
but
think
yeah.
that's simply because I see the movie and acknowledge it's got flaws.
Actually, well,
it's got
it did
pretty
well.
decent
Did you say it
flaws.
did well with audiences? Because it did
Yes.
do well with audiences.
Yes.
Audience, like people who went and saw it, loved it. It only failed critically.
Yeah,
Like
that's
not
what I
even
said.
failed. They got like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, they were like very mediocre.
Yeah.
Because critically, yes, I would agree. It fails a lot of things. There's a lot of like stuff that doesn't really make sense, and a lot of like things that kind of miss the mark. But when a movie is this fun and you love the main
Yeah.
characters so much, and well, basically, I came out of that movie and I said, that was a good time.
It was
I had a
so
lot
much
of fun.
fun. Yeah.
And I laughed a lot.
And,
I
like-
can't hate that movie. It was so fun and awesome, and the action was like I was invested in the action that you can't tell me, you can't bring up those flaws and ruin the experience for me, because I love those
'Cause it
other
was-
aspects so much.
And like there you have it for like Ant-Man and the Wasp was so like forgettable, even though like it was probably
It was a
like
good-
to-
yeah,
it was probably like
Like a
top.
solid movie.
It's probably like a solid movie, but it was so forgettable. Where Venom was like just all over the place
Well,
critically, but it was awesome. I'd want to watch Venom again.
Yeah.
The best part though was literally just Eddie and Venom. Like I think
exactly.
the action was okay. Like it was pretty fun to watch, but it was their dialogue back and forth.
Yeah.
It's so weird
Yeah.
having like a parasite talking to you, and then it's just.
And that's not an easy thing to do.
No, definitely
he
not.
freaking killed it, and that's the main reason why this movie is good.
Also, isn't it Stan Lee's last appearance?
No,
Venom?
no. He's
I
got a
think-
few more still coming up.
Well,
that
I
hasn't
mean,
even out yet.
as far as timeline, like it's his
Oh, most
last.
recent
It's
film?
it's his last appearance
Did
where he
die
was still
before-
alive when he did that one.
Did he die before the movie came out or after?
No, he died after Venom came out.
Okay,
what I'm
so-
saying is, it's like the ones that come out. He still has cameos yet to come out, but
Right.
he's dead
I'm
now.
pretty
Like
sure.
post.
I'm pretty sure. I can't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure it was an animated film that got the most recent thing of him.
Okay.
Into the Spider-Verse.
I was thinking that, but
Well, he's dead now. He was dead
something's
before
right.
that, too.
Something's
Was
telling
he
me.
in
talking
Wreck-It
like-
Ralph too? I felt like he was. I think
Yes.
no, he was.
Yeah, he
was
was.
Stan Lee
Yeah.
in Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
He
I
really
think it
was? Wow.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
they threw in a nod.
Interesting.
Okay. But I think last big Marvel movie he was in before he died.
Yeah.
Or the last cameo of him pre that, so.
What did you think of Venom? I don't remember hearing what you had to say about it.
I ended up giving it a miss in theaters, based on
Critics.
audience reactions critic reactions. And you guys told me it was good, but I never ended up pulling the trigger on that. I ended up watching it recently, and I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I wouldn't call it like a great movie, but like it is a lot of fun. Like
Yeah.
super funny, just enormously entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I might not watch it again, but that's not really a knock against it, as I don't tend to watch movies multiple times anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
I
stopped
like
doing that.
Yeah.
Like as I've gotten older.
You just
Like replay.
run out of time.
Exactly. That too.
Well, even with movies I love, I'm just like I like it, but I see it on Netflix or if I see it on my shelf, I'm like, I've already seen it though. I want to see something new. I want to see something fresh.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I keep adding movies I've already seen to my Netflix account. I'm just like, I'm never gonna get to these, but like I just like having them there.
Yeah. Yeah.
like
I like just
Options,
knowing I can.
guys.
It's like an honorable mention.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Well, what about you? What is your most surprising movie?
My most surprising movie was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because honestly,
You
it
too.
has-
You guys a match again on the. Well, how about you
Are we
both
gonna be-
just?
what are we
Mission
gonna
Impossible was my follow-up.
All right,
Oh, that's your
we'll-
follow-up for this.
It was,
We'll
so it
follow
was like
up to it.
I was
Okay.
between Mission Impossible.
Okay,
and
we thought you were
Spider-Verse.
giving away your next one
So,
already.
so most surprising.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so Enter the Spider-Verse, I feel like it doesn't have a right to be as good as it is. Like, I was
Fair.
ready to jump in and have it be like a decent animated movie that looked pretty cool and, did its job. But it is fantastic.
Yeah.
The animation is phenomenal. It looks beautiful. The design, apart from, I think, Kingpin, is like really like spot on.
I laughed when I saw him
That's
come on
like
It was like an
First.
egg.
that's like the one. There are two problems I have with Into the Spider-Verse, and that like they're the only things I have like to say about it
Yeah.
that are not.
You have to
like,
really dive
What
deep
are they?
to find.
There are two
problem.
things. The first thing is Kingpin. His design like is really off-putting.
His
and, like,
arms.
I don't really.
I like
Like
that.
it doesn't work for me. Like I'm
Okay,
not.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it fits into the movie maybe, but like it doesn't work for me. The other thing was there's like a weird like 3D effect going on even
Yeah.
in like standard.
I've noticed
like,
that.
definition
Well,
like
stuff
screenings.
And it's weird because I think what they're trying to do is draw focus to certain areas, but that still being said, it was off-putting enough where it still drew my eyes to it.
It was
you know?
really unsettling,
Yeah.
like a lot of the time, and I don't like it. Maybe it worked for it. I'm not sure. I'd have to see it without it in order
exactly.
to kind of judge it properly. But yeah, so Enter the Spider-Verse is mine.
Yeah. No, I
Same.
literally watched it last night
Same.
because I was like, I need to see this because it is one of the most talked about movies of last year, and
haven't seen it.
probably one of the best equal among critics and audience as far as ratings. I think it's one of the most consistent with both highestly. So it's like,
and it has a great cast. Just absolutely phenomenal. Nicolas Cage plays noir Spider-Man, and it's beautiful. John Mulaney plays
John Mulaney.
Who's John Mulaney?
Peter Porker.
yeah.
But who is John Mulaney?
Spider-
Who is John
Ham.
Mulaney?
He's a comedian.
Okay, all right.
Which honestly, if you haven't seen any of his specials, you really need to do that.
Okay.
Because he is fantastic.
Okay.
But no, so a phenomenal cast, a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
It really like.
That was my jam,
I have
man.
friends that are still listening to the soundtrack on repeat.
It's music
fantastic.
that I've never like actually gotten into or listened to, but it really puts you in the zone. Like
Yeah.
it really helps build that character.
And that's how you know they did it right.
Yeah.
If they can sell you on music that you don't personally listen to, that's how you know you're doing the soundtrack right.
Yep, that's why I know when a movie sells me on country music, it's a good movie.
What movies have sold you on country music, Wesley?
0.
Okay.
Oh man.
Well,
I've only-
we'll have to do some research and
I
see
have
if we can't
only
get you into it.
recently garnered a small appreciation for it, but you tend to do that on people you love, like country music.
Oh, fair
So-
enough.
Yeah, but yeah, Spider-Verse was mine too because I found it aesthetically pleasing. At first,
Oh, so good.
it was difficult because it was such a different style of animation that I wasn't used to, so it was kind of jarring. But then I really got into it. It's like visually beautiful, and I love the character development. Like I love seeing a new Spider-Man. I like seeing like a different story where it's not like, oh, Uncle Ben, he dies, he becomes Spider-Man, he gets his powers real quick, and then he learns how to do it perfectly.
I was gonna say Miles Morales is a real breath of fresh air in terms of
sure.
like
Yeah.
introducing new characters.
The entire movie is about him progressing to become Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And there's already other Spider-Men that
you-
we can watch.
I
with
can't.
it.
I haven't seen it yet, but you talking about it, I imagine that's just awesome. Like to
Yeah.
have a Spider-Man story that's new, but didn't actually detract from any of the old stuff. It's just because centers around a different one, and
They had a nod to the original Spider-Man movies in there
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, yeah,
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 well,
it's
they,
so
they
good.
do like.
Well, we should let
let
Wesley see it because
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
you really don't
I'll
want to
watch it
spoil
soon.
the effect. But like,
And it's still, and to be fair, it's still in theaters. So if you still haven't seen it for some reason, go see it now. 'Cause
Absolutely go see it.
Literally, I will say the animation is so good that every single second of this movie, if you were to screenshot it, is beautiful. Like every single
Every
second
frame of the movie is
So it's
like-
really good to appreciate in theaters on a big screen.
It's true.
To really just get just see it in its maximum potential because it is one of the prettiest movies ever.
And you can tell that the people who made it were really putting
Yeah.
their heart and soul into it.
Which, by the way, same people who make the Lego movies and all that stuff, freaking killing it with these animated movies. It is like so good what they're able to accomplish. The comedy is always like perfect to me. I mean, you saw what they did with the Lego Batman movie. Arguably one of the best Batman movies ever. Who would have thought that a freaking Lego
agree.
Batman
yeah,
movie
I
could
haven't
be so
actually
good?
seen it.
it was pretty good.
I have it. You can borrow it.
Okay.
Lego Batman, real quick, was
Out of nowhere, Lego Batman.
No, Lego Batman. The Batman in Lego Batman is the Batman that's portrayed in all of our internet memes and how we portray
Yeah,
him
okay.
as Batman.
All right.
And they really personified that as an official character and still gave him a story that still fit with Batman.
Yeah,
it was
it's
so
like
amazing.
the meme version of Batman is an actual Batman
It's
now,
the how it
and
should have
and you
ended
love it.
Batman.
Like it's awesome.
Yeah, and it works.
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah, they do some really creative, new, fresh stuff that they totally kill it every time. And I have
I
so
know,
much respect for
because
them.
when that first came out, like Lego Batman, I was like, "What kind of
Are they
cheap
trying
gimmick is
so
this?"
hard?
Like, but it's awesome. Man,
Yeah.
way to go to sell me on things I don't want.
I know, right?
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And that's what Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was too.
And you know what?
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
glad to hear all of this about it because I really don't know how much I actually wanted to see it. Like,
I'll tell you right now, you want to see
I
it.
know I do, but like,
no one had sold it
For me,
on
as
you.
someone
nothing
who
had really
loves-
sold me on it yet.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it looked nice, but I was like, well, I can just appreciate that from the trailers. Like,
Especially if you love Spider-Man, which I've been increasingly realizing how much I love Spider-Man, especially with this movie. This really feels like a celebration of Spider-Man as a character.
Well, there's more than one Spider-Man too. There's like
And
6
well, yeah, that's it. Is I'm interested in like the multiverse aspect.
They do it
Because
so
was
well.
really,
Spider-Man
really
is a
good.
really cool multiverse that's never been explored in films.
They
That
literally
now
had a
has,
pig
but yeah.
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
so that was like.
You know what
That
that
was
reminds
amazing.
me
They
of?
went there.
That reminds me of like the Mixel-Pix Superman. Like, 'cause Superman kind of has a multiverse going on.
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
But actually, yeah, DC functions on multiverse. So
This makes me really want to see more superhero movies taken seriously like this in animated form.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean,
they can do a lot more with it. I feel.
yeah.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. These are comics. These are cartoons. So the whole live action thing is a bit newer like aunts, even though it's like really like familiar to us now. I feel like that it does have some sort of restricting things.
Like
you know?
I'm really excited for the Into the Spider-Verse universe. I'm excited for that to like launch as a franchise.
Oh,
Yeah.
And a couple of things to kind of tack onto it. It was a lot cheaper than your average superhero movie. I think I heard somewhere that it only cost like $90 million to produce.
Wow.
Which is, for a superhero movie, is insane.
Yeah.
Like,
and they had a
4
good
years on
cast,
the movie too.
they had a
apparently.
phenomenal cast.
They worked
So,
4 years
yeah.
on it.
Apparently,
No wonder it was so good.
I think I read it. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that it took them like they took an entire week to make 1 second of the movie. So
Yeah.
they took 4
I
years
believe
making the movie.
Man, well, see what human beings are capable when you don't time crunch them. Like movies can be good if you don't need them out every
Learn
year,
Disney,
every other year.
Lucasfilm.
And I think we need to like dial it back on turning animated movies into live action movies, because it's not necessarily better to have it be live action, and I think Into the Spider-Verse proves that.
Nice.
And I'll use that as saying that Into the Spider-Verse was such a great movie, and I wanted to give it my best of the year. But here's the thing. Similar, I don't know how many football fans we have here, similar to how Tom Brady is the kind of guy that you love to hate because he freaking wins all the time, and it's like, you don't want to give Tom Brady any awards because, you know, like, he's already done everything. You want to give the new guy some awards. You want to give them some recognition, you know.
Like a runner-up.
Exactly. And you're just tired of seeing him, and it feels almost just unoriginal to call him the best.
You're going with this.
Okay.
And basically, what I see as Tom Brady in this thing is Avengers: Infinity War as honestly just the best movie that I didn't want to give because it's just so mainstream and just so all of this stuff.
Like, it's already winning everything.
Exactly.
Like, you don't want to give it the best of the year
thing is, like,
award, too.
achievement-wise, Spider-Man, we're just giving it so much love. It does so many new and fresh things that it deserves that reward. But if I'm being serious about my opinions here, it has to be.
Thanks for
Infinity War.
putting that to words for me.
Yeah.
Because when we get to mine, I decided not to give Tom Brady the trophy as far as movies go.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Really, literally, I watched Spider-Man last night, and I was thinking about it for hours on end last night and this morning, thinking about which do I think is the best movie of the year. And the reason why I gave the edge to Infinity War is because Infinity War had to... Sorry, Infinity War.
Just say it for infinity.
Yeah, this goes outside.
Batman.
It had so much
Title of the
it literally
episode.
had the biggest expectations.
Infinity.
The trailer was one of the most hyped trailers we've had of this decade. It has been building up for a decade.
Yeah.
All these things. It's got freaking, I think they said 27 lead actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Like,
these big
that's
names.
crazy. We needed 10 years of movies to get this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's
There
crazy.
is so many things. They had to do this almost damn near perfect to make this work.
Yep, and they didn't.
And they did it.
I'm just kidding.
How?
Hush yourself.
I'm just kidding. I love Infinity War, but I think my argument is valid.
Yeah, that's fair.
Continue.
Well, but that being
Balancing characters like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the same. It's like, I mean, you look at DC and them trying to tackle Justice League with literally like an eighth of the amount of characters,
Yeah.
and they failed to do it. This is not something that's easy to do.
No.
You know? So to take all that and to just deliver on it and make the best movie of the year is insane.
With
and I
27 characters.
Yeah.
Like,
that is
holy crap.
we may never see this again. I don't know if we'll ever. At this point, it was so good. I don't care what the sequel looks like, almost because I don't expect it to be nearly as good.
Well, like, my thing is I'm looking at Endgame to, like, finally give me what I was promised. That's my issue.
Give me
I wish I didn't have to feel like that either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's fair.
If more characters had gotten killed off over the course of the Avengers, like, saga, let's call it, I think it would have been an easier, it would be easier to forgive them for not, fulfilling the promises of stakes in Infinity War.
And I think that even though Avengers: Infinity War, technically, and like, if I was to be a harsh movie critic and be anal about all the details, definitely not the best movie of the year. But as the overall movie package, and just like I said about Venom, about how you didn't care about its major flaws because it was just a fun movie experience, and that's all that matters. Freaking Marvel took something that was one of the most hyped movies, probably since the Star Wars movies came back, and delivered on it unequivocally is crazy. Especially seeing how the Star Wars fandom is in turmoil right now, to see them take something that was so hyped up to these standards and to please like 90% of the people, that's insane. And I honestly, as much as I don't want to give them the ultimate props of saying that was the best movie of the year, I think I'd be silly not to.
And it's my favorite movie of the year as well.
Sure,
I did have some back and forth, like I think Into the Spider.
It's mine too.
Oh my word! I'm glad I picked a different one. You guys all go ahead. No,
Into the Spider-Verse, I think, was going to be an honorable mention, and I think you have another one that was also really good that we'll talk about in a minute. But the one thing I want to say about Infinity War is not only is it a great movie like on its own, but it's like a near perfect end cap to the saga so far. Like it pays off storylines and like beats that we've been seeing for the last 10 years. Like it should not work as well as it does.
That's the thing. It's annoying how good it is.
I thought it was really something special. And that's
and we may never see that again, and that's the thing. That's one of the things is that we will see another. The Spider-Man Into the Universe is paving a new way for this thing, and it's revolutionary, and that's why it deserves so much credit. But we'll see another one like that sometime soon. I don't think we'll ever see another Avengers Infinity War again.
Yeah, probably not.
And that's why I think it's better.
And I think that we might be okay with that. I think I'm pretty happy if it's just the two movies.
Well, if you think about it, like most movies, they might not even have 25 characters that make up the movie, but having 25 main characters in one movie, that was like, and it all meshed so well together. And if you think about some movies where there's 5 main characters and just feels bloated, well, this one they balanced it all out, and it was basically the bad guy was the main character. Yeah, but that was okay because we already knew each character that he was going against because they had their own movies and they had their own
that
build-up.
really made it work. We
didn't have to be like, all right, so what's going on with this person? Who's that, basically?
I will say, I feel like the storyline that had to do with the characters that were still on Earth, like after everything happens and you have them working out on Earth, I feel like they got kind of the short end of the stick narratively. But I feel like that's going to end up paying off in Endgame, and I'm happy to wait for that.
Well, because they announced that. They said that the characters you see less of in Infinity War, like it gets swapped for Endgame. You see them more, and the other ones less
prominently.
Yeah.
I think it's it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if any of you have read the Game of Thrones books, but there are 2 books that was supposed to be one book that he split into 2. And the first book is all the characters that you don't really care about, and the second book is the characters that you like care about a lot. So it's kind of like there's a way to do it well and there's a way to do it poorly, and I feel like this did it really well.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Sure. Yeah, you guys has basically said everything about Avengers.
Do you have anything to add?
Anything to add? Oh man, it was so pleasing that the build-up was worth it. That was 10 years. Like, I started watching Avengers movies in, like, 2011, so it was 7 years for me. But still, it was, like, it just felt so satisfying to see all the characters come together from, like, 20 movies, basically. And then it all meshed so well, and I don't know. I was really, really pleased with it. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know what else I can say that you guys haven't said already.
What was it? Did you have an honorable mention?
Honorable mention was, like you guys, Into the Spider-Verse. I really enjoyed that one. But also Mission Impossible Fallout. I did not see this movie in theaters, but Gordon and I watched it.
I saw it with you as well.
Yeah, it's true. And I was so surprised at how entertaining it was. It was phenomenal to watch. It was, like, visually pleasing, and it was shocking at the same time. Like, I'm not really into espionage and like spy movies and stuff like that, but this one did it very, very well in a way that I could follow for the most part. And it's like a lot of, double crossing or like faking somebody out or making something happen but it didn't actually happen. And then just like the cast was absolutely phenomenal because they had like Tom Cruise. The guy's in his 50s now, and he's still doing this. He broke his femur?
His ankle.
His ankle.
He's the Tom Brady of actors.
He broke his ankle.
Has he won an Oscar?
He must have.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, he probably
must
think
have.
so.
Yeah.
I know. I'm pretty sure he's been nominated, but
Maybe.
I'm not sure if he's
He's
won.
at least.
But yeah,
nominated.
he's basically like killed his body being in these movies because it's something that people want to see. Not him killing himself, but just like doing something that's absolutely stunning and visually like out of this world, basically, because you don't think nobody would actually do this in real life. You're gonna do CGI or like a stuntman or something. He's like, no, I'm gonna be on like underneath a helicopter. I'm gonna be holding onto a plane, or I'm gonna be on the side of a 100-story building, something like that.
Isn't he known for his run too?
He runs a lot, and he's running so much in this movie. Like, there's an entire scene. He always has a scene where he's running, but there was this one that was
a whole bunch.
It was really, really impressive. And I love the actors. I loved Tom Cruise. He was great. Henry Cavill, who plays Superman. I think you really like him. He's the one guy who I know who can pull a mustache off pretty well, like just a mustache for the most part. Also,
that mustache will go down in infamy, though.
That's true. Never forget.
Oh man.
yeah. And Simon Pegg, of course, because who doesn't love Simon Pegg?
I don't know if I've ever. I'm sure there is stuff that he does that's not great, but I personally have never watched anything that has Simon Pegg in it that I didn't love.
I would avoid watching Kill Me 3 Times.
Okay.
Yeah, don't watch that. But I do have to add to the Mission Impossible conversation. It's interesting to me, and it's fascinating that they can still make it entertaining. Like it's basically the same movie,
And it's a very old
like
concept.
5 times.
Yeah.
But they're still bringing fresh things to the table, and the final, I think, like 20 minutes, half hour of the movie is some of the most intense, like gripping and like what's the word I'm looking for? Anxiety, and like you feel
Edge
and,
of
like,
your seat.
Yeah, you know that these characters are gonna survive, but you're still like in the moment and like wrapped up in like how it's all gonna play itself out, and I think that's really impressive.
Truly, yeah.
I was like clenching up when I was watching the last 20 minutes. I was like, ugh, it makes me so uncomfortable, but I couldn't look away.
So, what about you?
Like I said, I decided not to give Infinity War
Yep.
even though it's
There's always one.
yeah, even though Infinity War is like obviously a phenomenal movie, but I think my favorite movie of the year was A Quiet Place.
Okay.
Just because it was so unique, and I'll never forget the theater experience. And
True.
You mean total silence in a theater?
I know, well, like, but considering that it's not something we're always getting, like, I'll never forget my theater experience for Infinity War either. But like, I wasn't like you were expecting it to be that way, and like we'll have more movies in the franchise that are like that. But like A Quiet Place was like it was new, and it was a unique experience, and it was just a really good movie.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Like the horror thriller genre is like probably my favorite genre in movies. So like just to add another like actually good movie to that corner of movies, it was really satisfying for me.
Also Jim Halpert.
And also Jim Halpert, yeah. But it's just like, for me, those are the movies that have the most, like, for me, I am most willing to rewatch a movie if it's like a horror movie, because it's just kind of fun to relive that experience, especially if you're showing friends. So yeah, A Quiet Place was
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't really enjoy feeling sheer terror while watching a movie multiple times, but to each his own.
I know people that would agree with you.
I definitely have to honor the movie experience, the theater specifically experience, and that's why I loved Avatar so much. And a lot of people is specifically the theater experience and how you were so immersed in the world. And like I said with Ready Player One earlier in the discussion, how I loved the theater experience, but that was an experience that can only be experienced in that facet in the theaters, and the movie just does not hold up afterwards. So it's disappointing.
Fair enough.
Well, with that, what a honestly really good year of movies. I've never seen so many movies in the theaters, and
Wait,
it was
hold on.
what
Aquaman was runner-up for me, actually.
Oh, okay.
For my
Fair enough.
Infinity War and Aquaman were runner-up
Yeah.
for me for best movie of the year. I loved Aquaman.
Okay.
really cool.
Yeah.
With Aquaman being so good, we have a lot of DC movies to look forward to this year with a good, finally good stand. Remember in an earlier conversation on Inconceivable where I said that Aquaman needed to succeed because it doesn't matter how good the other DC movies are. Aquaman didn't do at least moderately well.
Yeah.
Then people would give up on DC.
Like right now, in this little pocket of time right here, it is finally nice to be a DC fan.
It's
Like,
the DC movie franchise currently is moderately healthy.
yes, and it feels nice.
And it's the healthiest it's been in a long time.
Yeah, like Wonder Woman brought us to like okay, there's hope because Wonder Woman is
The
good.
patient is conscious.
Yeah,
That's good.
exactly. The patient is conscious. There's hope. We can still operate. And Aquaman's like, all right, the operation's done.
Operation's done. We have to go through,
we'll
physical
update.
therapy.
Yeah, we'll have to go through physical therapy. We'll update you if there's any side effects. But the operation's done. Yeah. So, can I go first? Since I have.
Before we jump into this, you're welcome to
Okay.
go first. I want to quickly list off the movies that we have
Okay.
going forward to in 2019 as a whole, and then we'll break down what ones
Okay.
we are most excited for.
I have a list too.
For me, I wrote down personally the most relevant movies. I'm sure there's going to be one or two that I miss, but I have quite a list, and I have to just stop at some point, right? So, Avengers Endgame, Captain Marvel, Glass, Aladdin, Toy Story 4, X-Men Dark Phoenix, Star Wars Chapter 9, It Chapter 2, Lion King, Dumbo, Spider-Man Far From Home, Joker, Shazam, Hellboy, Godzilla, King of Monsters, The Lego Movie, Part 2, The New Mutants, John Wick Chapter 3, Frozen 2, Men in Black International, How to Train Your Dragon 3, Pokemon Detective Pokemon? Yeah.
Detective Pikachu.
Oh, that's
Pokemon. Detective Pikachu.
Star Wars: A Solo Story. Will.
I'm going to pronounce this wrong already. Is it Alita Battle Angel?
I think it's Alita. Alita
Yeah.
Battle Angel.
sounds right.
Artemis Fowl, Zombieland 2, Sonic the Hedgehog,
Sonic.
and Playmobil the movie.
Playmobil
Wait,
movie.
those are the most anticipated.
No, just
no.
relevant.
I'm
Yeah.
like, why did you put down Playmobil?
No.
Do we have Lion King and Spider-Man on there?
Oh yeah.
So we were talking about Aquaman. My most anticipated movie of next year is not this, but it was my runner-up because this is the movie I'm like the most immediately
sure.
excited for is Shazam in April.
Okay.
That's the movie I'm like the most like. It's my most immediate like I can't wait to see it. But and same with Endgame, but Endgame is like. Yeah, it'll be here soon, and like to get an idea. And It Chapter 2, I'm like really excited for. I'm really excited for It Chapter 2. But my most anticipated movie of next year is Star Wars 9, definitely, because like
Same.
it's so far from now, and like I literally have no idea what's gonna happen.
It's true.
Whereas with like Endgame, you have an idea. So yeah. Yours is Star Wars 9 too.
It's Star Wars 9 just because with all the stuff that's happened with the new trilogy for the ongoing Skywalker saga, basically, I want to see how it wraps up because we kept thinking that it wrapped up like we already knew. So we watched the original trilogy, right? Yeah, ends with 6. We know what happens to those people, but there's the prequels, but we still know what happens to the people in the end.
Yeah.
But with this one, we don't know where it's going.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, it's odd because Episode 7 was done by J.J. Abrams, and then Ryan Johnson came in and he did a completely different idea, a different take with Episode 8. And then J.J. Abrams. Abrams is coming back for Episode 9, so I'm wondering how he's going to take what was already done and build off of that.
And the Force, at least for me, the Force Awakens is so refreshing. Like I love rewatching the Force Awakens.
I don't know where
I
my
really
copy
like
is.
it.
I want it back. I just don't know where it is.
I might have it
Really?
somehow because
Is it DVD?
yeah, I
maybe
do.
mine.
Maybe I do have yours.
Yeah.
Okay, because I own the one that's in the sleeve.
Okay,
And that's
yeah.
mine. But then I noticed I have another one in my. So it's probably
give it
yours.
back.
I'll give it back to you. Yeah.
I swear, Wesley.
I wonder what it was.
I don't want to watch it so much that I stole your copy too. Don't worry.
You have 2 copies.
Yeah, honestly, I wish I was more excited about Episode 9. Like, I want it to be my most anticipated, but I'm just not sure that it's gonna be that good. Like,
So you're almost trying to under-anticipate
yeah,
it.
yeah.
been
I
hurt
really
too
want
much
to. Like,
lately.
I want to lower my hype levels.
Try to temper your expectations.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's. Oh, what are you doing?
My phone.
Dropping stuff.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I want it to be Episode 9, and I'm interested in seeing where JJ goes with this.
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely interested to see the movie.
I'm just not. I'm not optimistic.
Yeah.
I'd say.
What about the
So-
Mandalorian, though? That's an entirely different conversation? Or?
Yeah, I think that's a different conversation. I mean, we're on movies now, so when we have a most anticipated TV and such episode, we'll have to talk about that. But I feel like we still don't know enough about that to really like dig into it.
That's fair. Yeah.
But what is your most...
What is yours?
I'm gonna have to give it to Avengers Endgame. Again, popular choice. It doesn't feel great, but I gotta see how it ends.
Yeah.
And there's a bonkers number of movies coming out this year, so a lot of which I expect to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like a truly insane number of movies.
Right.
Like just going through the list, you're like, holy cow! I've never seen this many like potentially great movies in a single year.
I have to agree. Like
you look at the list, and you're like, I don't have money for this.
We thought last year was like a really good year. Like we thought last year was a really good year for movies. I think like it's like more this year.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 times as many easily.
Yeah, and I think that
Toy Story 4.
what's interesting is that we had a lot of those movies at least met expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them exceeded, a couple were disappointing, but overall pretty good as far as how they were met. Not a lot of awful movies this year, especially within the geek fandom type movies. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see how this year holds up against them.
Yeah, definitely.
Fair enough.
What was your most anticipated movie this year?
Real quick, honorable mention. I am because I just got to say, I'm really excited for How to Train Your Dragon 3. I love those movies so much.
Yeah, you guys.
It's been really consistent.
You guys and your How to Train Your Dragon.
I need to see how it wraps up.
I was gonna say Hiccup's glow up has been really. It's been really
your 10-year glow up.
Really fantastic. Not gonna lie.
Lucky guy.
It's so fun to see it. I'm sorry. It's so fun to see a character like you live, like you get to see the character like get to where they are. Like you live through their whole arc. I remember experiencing that for the first time with Assassin's Creed and Ezio. Like it's one of the so.
Or like the Harry Potter series, you kind of get to like progress along with him. It's really neat.
One that was so close to making it, but I have to just throw up there is John Wick Chapter 3. That movie, that series is so impeccably amazing with its action. One of the best action movies of all time, I dare say. And
it's ruined me for other action movies.
It really has. Like those stupid
way.
Hulu commercials where it's like, it'll ruin TV for you. Like John Wick has ruined action movies.
Never get Hulu, yeah.
So, and I really can't wait to see where it wraps up because honestly, towards the end of John Wick Chapter 2, I was like, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I don't need another John Wick movie. This is great. Then the last 10 minutes happen, I'm just like, crap. I need a third one.
I need like 4 more movies now.
Right, because the thing is that after the first one, I didn't need a second one. But they gave me a second one, and I loved it. And I was like, okay, you justified it. I like it. And it was getting towards the end. It's like, you know what? I think I'll be good at this. I don't need another one. And then they give you that cliffhanger. You're like, I have to see that third one. Like, there's no way I'm not seeing that. So, but my most anticipated one, again, is just like my previous argument, I would be lying if I was just like, I want to give it to John Wick because I think it's the more creative choice.
Sure.
But I'd be lying when I was really thinking to myself, is like, what am I really most hyped to see? And what am I just like, if I could see tomorrow, what movie would I see tomorrow? And it would be Avengers Endgame. I mean, it's just like, again, like Infinity War is so good. Even though I'm not expecting this to be as good, I need to know how it ends, and I think it's so important and what they've set up for it. And I'd be lying if I wasn't the most hyped for this out of all the movies in the year. I need like Star Wars. Sure, is somewhere in that mix, but I'm also trying to shelve it and not be so hyped about it. I can't not be hyped about Avengers right now. It's far exceeded that point, and I'm probably going to overhype it, but that's okay. I'm just too hyped for this.
I have like a bonus question.
Sure,
if that's cool. Like, what was your whether it was a book, like a TV show, like what was your favorite like piece of media from last year? Like movies, books, TVs, anything.
You can't spring that on us.
Why not?
I can't even remember everything that I watched or looked at.
Man.
Honestly, I had a lot of great movie experiences this year.
Even if it's like still Avengers, like ignore that for a second. Like something you haven't already talked about.
Oh yeah, maybe how about just honorable mentions in movies in general?
But not even about movies. Like I'm just thinking like what in retrospect, what was your favorite media?
I'll go with something. I'm not gonna say that it's the best, but off the top of my head, I'm gonna go with Critical Role. They've been killing it this season.
Yeah,
Well,
they've
definitely
really nailed
momentum
it.
for
It
them,
was a
man.
brand new season this year, right?
Yeah, no, they started
campaign?
a new campaign. They introduced a whole bunch of characters, and the characters are pretty much all super likable and well thought out, and they have interesting backstories.
The
that
fandom is
unfold.
really thriving for that.
Yeah, no, it's really been phenomenal to watch.
Something, actually, what you bring up makes me think, really cool experience. I don't even know what to label this as, but Black Mirror Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That was really fun.
Really fun experience. I've experienced it a few times now. It was almost frustrating with how many times me and Alex kept choosing technically wrong things, but honestly, there is no wrong or right way to do things.
There's just shorter endings.
Right, yeah. But honestly, that could potentially be the most meta thing next to Deadpool that I've ever seen in media,
It
period.
started to get really meta at a certain point.
Oh yeah, one of the endings is like one of the most meta things I've ever seen. And it is a unique experience, and I think it's really going to pave the way for some really more unique experiences for media in general, as this weird cross between video games and movies. Really, really cool. I would love to see other media does like other movies and TV shows do this, but in moderation. I think Black Mirror was the perfect experiment for this, and I love Black Mirror as a whole. But it'll be interesting where it goes from here, because we had such a great starting point for this, where when something starts off that well, usually it tanks really hard as people try to take it on almost too quickly.
Sure.
So I hope people take this new format with consideration and thought. You know, 'cause
Fair enough.
Black Mirror had to literally postpone their next season because they put so much work into Bandersnatch. And I think that needs to be remembered as how invested and how not an accident this was. It was very well thought out, and it made for a really fun experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you have one, Alex?
It's not something that came out this year, but it was new to me this year, and that was Overwatch. It's my first time
Yeah,
playing
fair
it,
enough.
and I highly enjoyed it. I mean, I'm making a cosplay from it now, and it was so fresh and different, and it felt like I was playing an anime, sort of.
Yeah.
Such a unique variety of characters, and I want to know their stories, and I'm still so annoyed that they don't have an actual story campaign, because I want to know more about these characters.
Something that was new in Overwatch last year was the Overwatch League, which had a very successful start, and it is the first really legitimate attempt at a team-based, US-based esports league, one with actual home locations to be coming up, really building on the city, American-style type of sports and an esports spin.
For Overwatch.
And it's the first one of this kind, and I think that it's going to change how esports works in America, and I think that should
That's
not...
why you're so excited about it.
Yeah.
Okay, because
Well-
you're not. I don't mean this as a dig. Like it's perfectly fine. But you're like obsessed with like the was it Boston Uprising? Yeah, you're like obsessed with them, and I'm like, how is it so? How is this special? Like esports are fun, but I was like, why is William so obsessed with them? Like why are? But that's cool. That I understand now. Like it's potentially revolutionary.
I mean,
what they're doing.
I do want to point out that it's not just the United States. There are a lot of other teams.
for sure,
from
but it's
all
US
over.
based.
Eastern-based.
US
Yeah.
based, yeah.
It started here first, as
We don't have
opposed
a-
to it always starting somewhere else and coming here.
Right,
Okay.
and we don't
Yeah.
have a U.S. team. We have cities like
Yeah.
Boston Uprising. I am proud to say that we have a city, like we have a town. We have a team from Boston representing us in this esports league. That is cool. We don't see that ever in esports.
Yeah,
That was
so-
a very unique experience for us because we actually went to an Overwatch League party where they were playing they were showing the game.
Yeah.
the
not in
battles.
Gillette Stadium,
Yeah.
but in one of the vicinities right next to Gillette Stadium. Really cool.
Yeah.
Wesley, do you have one?
Yeah, so I have a couple shout outs, which would be Daredevil Season 3.
Yes.
And
Oh, dude.
The
yeah.
Haunting of Hill House, which is just a phenomenal, piece of TV show. I don't know.
You're Italian is showing.
It was so so good, so much. Again, I don't know if you guys share that with me at all, but I love horror thriller stuff. So it was really quality. It wasn't just I don't know. It was some quality stuff. Daredevil Season 3 was great, but this wasn't new to this year, obviously. But just for overall enjoyment, I finally got back into Pokemon Go this year, and it's just so much fun.
True.
That's probably my favorite thing still right now. I even got William to finally
I'm
get
in it
into
now.
it. So
It was very interesting just to be sitting in the living room and then hear Will screaming no all the time.
because he can't catch something.
He missed something, and I was like,
I'm probably
dude,
best at
But
this stuff.
like still, Pokemon Go it's so special to me because like I grew up playing Pokemon and like I have so many fond memories attached to playing Pokemon. Like certain songs out of nowhere just remind me of Pokemon because I used to like I would hear them while I was playing it.
Pokemon
so,
Go is
like-
a very like big celebration
And like
of Pokemon in
it's
general.
it's a celebration of Pokemon, and it's not something. It's something you can get your Pokemon fix playing Pokemon Go, and you don't have to like spend an afternoon playing. You know what I mean? Like it's an easy way for me to get my like video game or just my like Pokemon fix if I play Pokemon Go. So
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, this was fun, guys.
Yeah.
No, it was
It was
a
very,
good time.
very great conversations. And man, I am so pumped for this year for movies. And look forward to our spoiler cast stuff because that's going to be a lot of
is
fun.
that still called Inconceivable? Or is it
Yeah.
like a new thing called Spoiler Cast?
Yeah, Inconceivable. Spoiler
Oh, okay.
cast. Yeah, so it's going to be fun because personally, I love our conversations just personally going on about these things. It'll be really cool to record some of them and also show you guys, our initial
Yes.
thoughts rather than waiting until the next episode comes out to talk about it. And you can have dedicated stuff for everything and a little bit more quicker pace as well. So
Nice.
it'll be fun.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Until next time, stay kind, geeks.
Inconceivable! Inconceivable! Inconceivable!